When it rains, it pours, and right now it is absolutely pouring. Nintendo Switch 2 leaks. Mobipad, which is a Nintendo Switch accessory manufacturer, has published some more details on what they have heard about Nintendo Switch 2 as they begin to create their accessories for the next system. So what's up, Waluigi? Trent from Trentendo. Today we're going to talk about everything that Mobipad has talked about. It seems that they are doubling down on some of the stuff we've heard specifically around the Joy-Cons and their magnetic connection. So before we hop into all this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video, and let's just get going because there is a lot to talk about. So first up, over on My Nintendo News, this is where I'm pulling this from. I'll put a link down to the article below. There's basically 6 things that they have gone through, and Mobipad is talking about Mobipad that they've gone through and highlighted about Nintendo Switch 2. So first up, the Bluetooth chip for Switch 2 still supports existing Joy-Con and Pro controllers and still features HD vibrations. So we talked about this yesterday, that depending on how this rail system works, or if there is a rail system because it's magnetic, supposedly, we'll get into that as well, that we might not be able to use our Joy-Cons that we currently have on a Switch 2 because there's not going to be a way to attach them. But that doesn't mean that we can't use them via Bluetooth with, the little accessory that you slide on to make it like a controller. It sounds like that is still going to be an option. So everybody who has, a ton of different special edition Joy-Cons or the Pro controllers, you're still going to be able to use those via docked mode and Bluetooth. You just won't be able to actually physically attach them to your Switch 2. The next thing, number 2, it says Switch 2 has backwards compatibility with Switch 1 cartridges, but Switch 2 cartridges will be different and won't fit on a Switch 1. So this is basically going from the Game Boy to the Game Boy Advanced, or you could put a Game Boy Color or Game Boy cartridge in a Game Boy Advance, but you couldn't put the Game Boy Advance in the other stuff. Same with the DS and the 3DS, they had a little notch on stuff, so you couldn't fit it. This would make sense. Another win for backwards compatibility. We have heard that this has supposedly been the plan for some time, but it's always good to hear that again, especially when we're getting all this kind of information at once. So backwards compatibility sounds like should be there, and I would imagine that if the cartridges are going to work, that the eShop and the way Nintendo's kind of handled the stuff with Nintendo accounts, I'm not too concerned. I think that they've wanted to kind of create some sort of cohesive ecosystem between the two consoles. It's going to be like a one-stop shop, regardless if you have a Switch or a Switch 2. I think we should be okay with backwards compatibility, and by having the physical media be backwards compatible makes that seem all the more likely, in my opinion. The next, number 3. It says the new Joy-Cons are larger and are magnetically attached to the console with an electromagnet. The SL and SR buttons are metallic now, and there's a new button behind each Joy-Con and a new button below the home button on the right Joy-Con. So that's also very interesting that, they're doubling down on the Joy-Cons being magnetic like we heard the last couple of days, but also that we're going to have magnetic buttons with, metallic buttons with some additional buttons on the Joy-Con. So no word on what those buttons are for, but having some metallic buttons on there would be very interesting. I think it makes it feel more upscale, more luxurious, more cool, more hip, whatever you want it to be. Having metallic buttons on a Joy-Con is going to be pretty cool, in my opinion. And then the magnetic thing is going to be interesting to see how that works. How do you put them on and off? Is it really just a snap-on with a magnet? So a lot of kind of stuff to digest there, but we won't really know until we see more actually like renders or images or videos or whatever the case may be of Nintendo's probably official announcement, assuming this is all correct. We have to take everything here with a grain of salt again. This is a leak, but it's coming from a manufacturer, which is interesting and makes it more probable, in my opinion. It's not just some dude on Reddit or on 4chan. This is a company that makes products for Nintendo Switch specifically, and assuming they're going to continue to do so for the next system. Okay, so let's keep going. Number 4, the dock still has a USB-C port. It also supports 4K image output, which would be cool. So you're going to get that 4K on your TV. Obviously, probably not in handheld. Actually, we'll go into that. Not in handheld. So on your TV, if you have a 4K TV, you're going to be able to get that output, which would be cool. The new kickstand has a damping bracket on the back for improved angle adjustment. So if you play tabletop mode, cool. And then the last thing, number 6, it says the screen is bigger, up to 8 inches, and the resolution is upgraded to 1080p. So we won't have an OLED screen on the launch version of the console, but we will have a 1080p output, which is going to be great. So all of this is awesome. As I said, Mobipad probably making a big mistake here. I don't know if this was on purpose or not. but it's out there, and now they have gone on to say that they're looking forward to sharing more information in May. So we're kind of just sitting and waiting. But to make things even better, now we've got Pioro talking about this specific article over on X. He basically goes in and says people have been DMing him this. It says, to those sending me this via DM, it appears that this info has been divulged to some manufacturers and Nintendo influencers in China for a while. Such info has been mentioned in some private discussions while my main source can't verify it. I mean, such info has been mentioned in some private discussions before this report. So Pioro basically saying he's heard this previous to all this reports, but his main source hasn't done so. So he has many sources, presumably, and kind of confirming here, but the one that he trusts the most, or his main source, hasn't been able to confirm this yet. So depending on where his source is coming from, they may or may not have known this, or maybe they're not willing to digest this. So interesting stuff. It seems like, the way that Pioro is even mentioning this, he hasn't mentioned a lot of stuff of Switch 2 leaks in the last little bit, so the fact that he's commenting on this is interesting as well. As I said, MobaPad is a manufacturer, so this isn't just some dude on the internet talking. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. We do have the investors meeting coming up here in a couple of weeks. And it would just be assumed that Nintendo would probably at least divulge the fact that there is a next system in development, or that they're close to it, even if they do not do a full reveal and a full trailer and a full timing of when we can expect to see it. Maybe they at least tell their investors and their shareholders that it's coming and it'll come this next year. So we'll have to wait and see what Nintendo does, but as we get closer to this, there's going to be more stuff like this popping out, and this might just be the tip of the iceberg. Maybe the dam is about to break, because this is a lot of stuff. And assuming that manufacturers are now getting information on the Switch 2 and what to expect and how to get ready for making their accessories, we might be getting more stuff here very soon. So hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments what you guys are most excited for. What are you expecting to see from Nintendo Switch 2? I'm very excited for this, and assuming everything in this pans out the way that we hope, is going to be a great system, it sounds like. But again, nothing's official till Nintendo makes it so got to take everything with that grain of salt. So hope you guys enjoyed. Looking forward to get that conversation going with you down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on your way out. It really does help. I appreciate it. And until next time, catch you later.